next time on The Chase. Goodbye.
This is 7 News with Angela Cox.
Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock and these are the stories making headlines right now. Panic in Sydney's west, a desperate search for 3 children feared taken in a stolen car. The bizarre twist after they were found safe. Drama at one of Australia's most iconic tourist destinations, how this car ended upside down at Bondi Beach. The major search underway for a fisherman who disappeared from his boat off Queensland's far north coast. Melbourne's smoke haze threatens to disrupt the start of the Australian Open. The smiling Meghan pictured for the first time since the Sussex scandal broke. But first at 4, 3 children have been found safe after their mother allegedly claimed they'd been kidnapped in Sydney's west. Live to Sean Berry in the newsroom. Sean, do we know what happened?
And police put out an Amber Alert just before 3 o'clock this afternoon to help locate 3 children who were believed to be occupants in a car that was stolen at Carramar. Now, a short time later, the trio was found safe and well, just streets from where they were reported missing. And the story has now taken a bizarre twist. It's unconfirmed at this point, but 7 News is being told a woman who reported the incident may have forgotten where she parked her car with the children left inside. Police have been speaking with the mother as investigations continue, but at this stage the 3 children appear to be okay, Ange.
OK, Sean, thank you. It's one of Australia's most famous spots and a favourite lookout for tourists taking photos of Bondi Beach. But incredibly, no one was injured when a luxury car flipped over a guardrail and onto a footpath. The driver may be a little embarrassed. She'd left the car unattended while swapping details over another minor bingle. Alex Hart has the details.
Imagine the shock and the horror taking in the beautiful sights of Bondi on a walk this morning when right up above you a car comes crashing through the fence. That is exactly what happened here this morning just before 11 o'clock. A Range Rover going through the fence, flipping onto its roof and landing on the walkway below. Workers at the apartment building across the road on Knotts Avenue couldn't believe what they were witnessing.
Just kind of heard some commotion, ran outside, ran to the balcony. Car hit the gate and then just slowly kind of crashed over.
Fortunately, no one was in the car or underneath it when it landed. The driver had been involved in a minor accident with another vehicle while exiting the apartment building's driveway, and she'd left the handbrake off when she got out to exchange details with the other driver.
Was trying to get to the handbrake from outside the car, and then just as it kind of crashed and started tipping, she just backed out. Pretty good timing.
Knotts Avenue was closed for around 3 hours while tow truck drivers tried to work out how to winch the luxury SUV up and take it away.
They've been here for a long time and they're not achieving it yet.
Yeah.
A long day, I think, a long day for the tow truck drivers.
A temporary fence has been erected here. Plenty of people stopping by to take photos and see for themselves the scene of an accident that was every bit as spectacular as the view.
Air and sea searches are underway in Queensland with 2 boaties missing in separate incidents. In the latest case, an experienced fisherman has disappeared in waters which locals say are inhabited by aggressive crocodiles. Tom Hartley reports.
Well, it was here at the mouth of the Johnston River off Innisfail where the 55-year-old's boat was found by a pair of kayakers. This was close to 6 p.m. yesterday, and after the missing man's next of kin had raised an alarm, a search party was launched and now includes 5 helicopters, 2 planes, water police, the SES and a team from the local volunteer marine rescue.
We believe he was an experienced fisherman, but we have some information he hasn't been fishing or used this particular vessel for a couple of years.
His 5.6 metre boat was brought to Innisfail and pulled out of the water this morning. Officers checked it for any evidence that may provide some answers into how he got into trouble. Well, police say he launched about 10 kilometres south of here at Marillion Harbour in the morning and had intended on fishing on the reef but never made it. Locals here have shared with us a rather concerning prospect that crocodiles are common here and they are aggressive.
I used to live in the Coconuts area. There's some really, really big crocodiles in that area. And bull sharks, obviously.
Now further south in central Queensland, another search for a Dysart man who went missing about 15 kilometres off the coast of Yeppoon early yesterday continues. Well, there in central Queensland and also here in the waters off Innisfail, authorities say they'll continue those respective searches all through the afternoon and into the night.
The death toll from Victoria's bushfire disaster has risen to 5. David Morrissey died while working to contain a bushfire in East Gippsland. The 69-year-old was making containment lines on the 30th of November when his vehicle rolled. The grandfather of 9 died at the scene, but authorities in Victoria have only now confirmed his death will be included in the official bushfire toll. That means 28 people have now died nationally this bushfire season. Melbourne is choking through its 3rd straight day of bushfire smoke, which is threatening to impact the start of the Australian Open. Blake Johnson is at Melbourne Park.
Players aren't just dealing with a hot 36-degree day in Melbourne today, but there's another smoke haze covering the city. Venus Williams is outside having a hit on one of the outside courts, but practice was delayed for 3 hours today, and so too qualifying matches, because tennis authorities said the air quality here was just too poor. Ambulance Victoria says the number of call-outs for smoke-related problems is up 75% today. Canberra and Sydney have also had recent terrible air quality, so the federal government has announced $3 million into research into impacts of breathing in bushfire smoke. It's been welcomed by Victoria's Chief Health Officer, who says we need more money and more info into long-term effects.
It is an area where we need more research, looking into what it means for community members, as well as the emergency services staff. I welcome that, absolutely.
Melbourne's air quality has officially gone between very poor and hazardous over the past couple of days. Local government-run gyms and pools are closed, but not everybody is listening to the official warnings.
I'm seeing people running around here, I'm seeing people on the Yarra in their boats. I can understand why they want to keep on exercising, but this is not the air to breathe.
The smoke in Melbourne is expected to clear today when storms roll through later this evening, but that smoke will return at the weekend. Still no word from tennis authorities and organisers as to whether they'll have to delay the start of the Oz Open when it commences on Monday.
Before the details have even been finalised on the royal split, Meghan Markle is out of hiding and seems keen to show she's still focused on her favourite social causes. She's been photographed visiting a women's centre in Vancouver, Canada. The downtown Eastside Women's Centre shared this photo on Facebook, saying Meghan visited to discuss issues affecting women in the community. Earlier, the Daily Mail published images of her boarding a seaplane on an exclusive island. It's the first time Meghan has been seen in public since she and Prince Harry announced they wanted to step back from royal duties. It comes as new details emerge about yesterday's crisis talks with the Queen. Europe correspondent Sarah Greenold has more.
It's been revealed that Meghan didn't dial in to the Sandringham summit. Apparently, the Sussexes decided that it just wasn't necessary, leaving Harry to negotiate on his own. There has been so much commentary here in the UK following the summit, following that statement that the Queen put out saying she would have preferred Harry and Meghan to stay working members of the royal family. So the general consensus is that Harry and Meghan won this round of negotiations. They got what they want and the Queen essentially surrendered. Now palace officials and government officials are working on the finer details of the arrangement before all parties will sign off on it. One of the main sticking points is this issue still of who will pay the couple's astronomical security costs. Today, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said his country is willing to make it work.
I think most Canadians are very supportive of having royals be here, but how that looks and what kind of costs is involved, there's still lots of discussions to have.
Yeah, but you would welcome them in Canada should they choose to come here.
I think there is a general feeling of appreciation for the Sussexes.
Away from the crisis, other royal family members got back to work today. There was a rare joint engagement by the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla, and Princess Anne. Camilla presenting her sister-in-law with an honorary degree for her lifetime of charity work. It is pretty widely recognised that the Queen's only daughter has managed to strike what some consider a perfect balance between carrying out her public royal duties and maintaining a pretty private life, something Harry and Meghan are so desperate for. It's also been reported that Anne was a huge support to her mother during those tumultuous Charles and Diana years. So even though she wasn't directly involved in yesterday's negotiations, perhaps she has more behind-the-scenes involvement than what we realise.
Meteorologist David Brown joins us now. Brownie, wild weather is impacting Victoria.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ange. In fact, the Bureau is now warning of severe thunderstorm activity in and around Melbourne. As we go to air, we can track the action on radar. Check out the storms extending all the way from New South Wales into northern parts of Tasmania. This slow-moving trough is driving the storms towards the east. We already had 44 millimetres from a supercell storm in Avalon. That's near Geelong. Most of that fell in 30 minutes. Also had winds in excess of 110 kilometres per hour. The thing we're keeping an eye on is this supercell right here. It's drifting across the bay at the moment and it should reach the eastern suburbs of Melbourne within 30 minutes. Now, in the longer term, we're expecting some extensive rain to affect large parts of the eastern seaboard in the coming days. This is the best rate of it we've seen in months. We're looking at 5-day totals at the moment. More than 50 millimetres is expected to fall in Sydney, and I think the rain should knock out the remaining bushfires. As we go to the latest satellite information, storms extend all the way through Queensland, as we could see, into the northern part of Tasmania. Even got some storm action happening over the southeast corner of Queensland. More tomorrow as this trough gradually drifts towards the coast, sparking further showers and storms. And again, I think we'll see severe thunderstorm activity near this trough developing from around about mid-afternoon and lingering into the evening. Now, let's have a look at the current conditions in Brisbane at the moment, sitting on 28 degrees. Melbourne, it's still hot, 36 degrees, but that will change within the next 30 minutes. Local forecasts in detail, Ange, top of the hour.
OK, thanks so much, Brownie. Coming up in 7's afternoon news, the hunt for firebugs who torched several cars in a Sydney suburb. And the mid-air fuel dump that left dozens of school children on the ground injured. What went wrong? That's next.
Want to be part of my brand new cooking competition? I'm looking for the best dishes from all around the world. Asia, the Middle East, Europe, Latin America, you name it. This is your chance to prove that your cuisine is the best there is. Apply now at 7plus.com.au.
Don't miss our favourite ogre live on stage in Shrek the Musical, starring Ben Mingay, Lucy Durack, Todd McKenney and Marsha Hydes. A multi-million-dollar musical that's as funny as the film. Now playing. Book at shrekthemusical.com.au.
Hey, did you pack the tent?
Yeah, I packed everything. I even bought you these carrots, just in case you got hungry on the way.
Could I please get a McVeggie burger, and did you want anything, or are you good with those carrots?
With a crunchy potato, cheese and veggie patty, fresh lettuce, creamy mayo and our famous pickles, Macca's new McVeggie burgers mean there truly is something for everyone.
Come sail with the Vikings on the rivers and the sea.
Vikings fly and cruise sale now on. Save up to $6,000. Call 138 747 or see your Viking travel agent.
Can you hear the thunder? They're ready to rumble. Watch them roll through Sydney. January 26, Sydney Showground Stadium. Tickets on sale now.
That feeling. That's what inspired Endless Data. Get data that never ends for only $40 a month on our 12-month SIM-only Plus plan. Get that feeling. Click, call or come in store.
Your spare pair. Your glare pair. The flying through the air pair. We could all use a second pair. At Specsavers, get 2 designer pairs, no gap, from the $199 single vision range when you're with selected health funds.
Ooh, nature lovers. This'll be easy. Let's get 'em!
With 98% natural ingredients, Mortein Nature Guard's all-day protection is tough on bugs, not on people.
Beat the heat this summer with Australia's biggest fan sale at Beacon. With every single fan reduced, there's big savings on Australia's biggest range of fans. Plus, rush in for store-wide savings during our stock take sale too. Sale on now.
Domino's war on delivery charges just got bigger because our $15 delivered deal now includes our vegan and plant-based pizzas. Any large pizza, just $15 delivered.
Knock, knock. Want to trade your birthday for a birth week?
Yeah, let's go! You can go your own way. Go your own
your own way with 3-tonne towing on the 7-seat Isuzu MU-X from just $46,990 drive away.
Jenny Craig is here to help you lose weight the healthy way.
I lost 36 kilos in 37 weeks. I honestly didn't think I would lose anywhere near that.
Join today with a free 8-week membership. Cost of food additional.
Call Jenny Craig now.
A group of arsonists is on the run in Sydney's west after torching 4 cars parked on streets in Penrith. Petrol bombs were thrown through their windows, with residents waking to the sound of alarms around 3 this morning. They've told police they saw 2 people in dark hoodies leaving the area on push bikes. Dozens of children have been injured in the US after a plane dumped its entire fuel load over primary schools and playgrounds. The Boeing 777 reported engine failure before making an emergency landing in Los Angeles. US correspondent Paul Kadak reports.
Good afternoon. Well, the smell of jet fuel is still hanging in the air of this neighbourhood, but thankfully it is dissipating. All of this happened just before noon local time. An aircraft returning to Los Angeles International Airport for an emergency landing was dumping fuel as it passed over this area. That fuel falling on this school where students and staff were out on the playground. Paramedics were called after reports of skin irritation and breathing problems. There was a big response from fire and medical teams. More than 40 people at 5 different schools have had to be checked out.
I was so scared, so that we just went inside. And then my eyes started itching.
Here at Park Avenue Elementary School, around 20 children and 10 adults were treated. Those suffering from eye and throat irritation decontaminated using soap and water. The good news is no one had to be transported to hospital.
With jet fuel, obviously it's extremely volatile, but what it also does is it evaporates very quickly. We don't have anything that would indicate any need for evacuation.
Now the plane, Delta Airlines Flight 89, had just taken off from LAX, headed to Shanghai in China when it declared an emergency due to a mechanical issue and turned back to the airport. Now, dumping fuel like this isn't common, but it does happen, though it is meant to happen over unpopulated areas. Aviation officials are now investigating. Authorities are also monitoring the air quality here to ensure there is no ongoing danger. From Los Angeles, it's back to you.
A spate of earthquakes are being felt in areas near where a volcano erupted in the Philippines. The Taal volcano has been spewing ash since Sunday, with fears a second major eruption is imminent. If it blows, experts believe it could trigger a tsunami. More than 500,000 people living in villages near Manila have been told to leave. A huge explosion at a chemical plant in Spain has left at least 1 person dead and 6 injured. It's understood nobody was inside the facility at the time, but surrounding buildings were brought down by the force of the blast. Authorities initially urged residents to stay indoors, but later said no toxic substances had been released. A dozen people have escaped injury after an SUV smashed through an optometry store in Florida. A customer coming to pick up new lenses for her glasses accidentally accelerated into the building while pulling into a parking spot. After confirming nobody was hurt, the driver joked that she definitely needed those lenses. Coming up on 7's afternoon news, chaos on the motorway. A truck bursts into flames north of Sydney. And in sport with Jim Wilson, Dave Warner and Aaron Finch rewrite the record books against India.
Whoa! Robbie Williams, exclusive, revealing Brekkie TV interview tomorrow
on Sunrise on 7. The legendary Pope auto-wind hose reel has an industry-leading controlled rewind system. A stop-and-go action which is super smooth. Go, stop! It's got a 180-degree swivel mounting bracket, which all means no more messy backyards. And if that's not enough, the hose has a 10-year warranty.
Huh? But I'm only 6.
The Pope auto-wind hose reel. Smoother, safer, better.
Sometimes I forget our products all begin on our Inglewood farm, but the fresh smell of eucalyptus always reminds me. The oil from these trees is a wonderful gift, one that my family and Bazistos have been sharing with Australians for 165 years, creating eucalyptus-based cleaners free from harmful chemicals or harsh ingredients. From our fields to our family, from our farm to you.
Imagine if you took Coca-Cola No Sugar and full-on froze it. Well, now you don't have to. Head down to Macca's and try the new frozen Coke No Sugar for just $1. Exclusive to Macca's.
The Sixers are ready to fly. Be there to watch them take off. January 20, the SCG. Tickets on sale now.
It's time to see the world in 2020 with Scenic. Book a 15-day luxury Europe River cruise and fly for $125. See your Scenic agent or call 138 128 today.
Yes?
Can't wait? Don't wait. Hyundai's 2019 play clearance is now on. Get the new Hyundai Venue from $22,490 drive away.
Australia's biggest school shoe sale is on. Take 20% off all Clarks and Colorado school shoes and get an incredible 12-month warranty on all Colorado Resilience. Plus, a free squishy with every purchase over $95. Hurry into Williams & Mathers, #1 for school shoes.
I'm feeling good.
Make the most of your business card with Vistaprint.
I'm feeling good.
Now's the time to try 250 standard business cards from $10.
I'm feeling good.
Own the now with Vistaprint.
What? You weren't even watching.
Shut up and take my money.
How was that out?
At Expedia, you can choose your flights, hotels, activities and car hire, all in one place. Everything you need to go. Expedia.
Two separate truck fires have caused chaos for drivers on the M1 in Sydney today. This fiery scene at Berowra closed one of 3 northbound lanes. An earlier accident further north at Bar Point also sparked long delays. It took hours for emergency service workers to clear the road. Time for sport with Jim Wilson, and the Aussies off to a stunning start against India.
Yeah, they were really impressive in Mumbai overnight, Ange. Good afternoon to you. Afternoon, everyone. David Warner and Aaron Finch put in a batting performance for the ages in the first one-dayer against India. The home side looked like setting a big total after Shikhar Dhawan cruised to a half-century. But soon after, the Indian batsman crumbled. Adam Zampa caught Virat Kohli off his own bowling for just 16. The last 9 Indian wickets fell for 121 runs to be all out for 255. Now, Warner was given a reprieve early. His caught-behind decision reversed on review, and he made the most of it. Finch and Warner were barely troubled as both brought up centuries, hitting the biggest ever one-day partnership against India on the way to a very impressive 10-wicket victory.
All in all, pretty good performance. So, yeah, very happy. I think any time that you beat India in India, it's a nice feeling, but only first game.
The second game is on Friday. The Sydney Sixers can take a huge step towards locking down a Big Bash final spot with a win over the Hobart Hurricanes tomorrow night. The SCG clash will also double as the Sixers' second annual Pride Party to promote inclusiveness, an issue that's back in the spotlight after Melbourne Stars all-rounder Marcus Stoinis was fined for a homophobic slur.
I know Marcus is a great bloke and he's a good fella and he's not homophobic at all, and he just had a moment where he probably went back into some bad habits that he developed when he was 15 years ago, but times have changed.
The SCG fielding circle will be painted in rainbow colours. Tonight, it's a double header across the screens of 7, beginning with the Sydney Thunder up against the Melbourne Renegades. Then it's the Perth Scorchers hosting ladder leaders, the Melbourne Stars. Just check your local guides. Collingwood and North Melbourne have been forced to move their training indoors to Melbourne's Sports and Aquatics Centre earlier today due to the smoke haze that's blanketing the city. The Magpies have been dealt a pre-season injury blow, with veteran forward Travis Varco needing a shoulder reconstruction. He'll miss the early rounds of the AFL Premiership season. Knight superstar Kalen Ponga says there's been a noticeable change in intensity under new coach Adam O'Brien after last year's late fade-out that cost them a spot in the finals. Mitchell Pearce admits there's a huge onus on him as captain to demand consistency of the talent-laden squad.
My leadership's going to be tested this year. I need to have a huge year for the club, and as a whole group we know what we're up for.
O'Brien's first game in charge is against the Warriors in Newcastle on Saturday, March 14. Australian Open qualifying is back underway at Melbourne Park after a 3-hour delay due to poor air quality caused by bushfire smoke. World number one Rafael Nadal practiced with 3-time Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka indoors this morning. Nadal says his thoughts are with bushfire victims.
Very sad to realise how much things we lost.
Rafa on Sunrise this morning. Wawrinka urged those complaining about the smoky playing conditions to get some perspective. He says it's nothing compared to what bushfire victims are going through. To the A-League, and Melbourne Victory has sacked coach Marco Kurz after only 13 games. With just 4 wins so far this season, club bosses say the German's performance just hasn't been up to scratch.
It hasn't been a rash decision by any means. It's based on facts. It's looking at performance and results, and they haven't met our expectations.
Assistant coach Carlos Savachua will take the reins until the end of the season. The Olyroos are 2 wins away from their first Olympic berth in more than a decade. A 1-1 draw with Bahrain overnight qualified the Aussies for the knockout stage of the Under-23 Asian Championships on top of their group.
It's Rami Nazarene, and Australia have the advantage with their first effort on goal.
They're now through to the quarterfinals, needing a top 3 finish to guarantee qualification for Tokyo. So it's been a while since we qualified as far as men's football is concerned. In fact, back in Beijing in 2008, fingers crossed, 2 more wins and we're Tokyo bound.
Everything crossed. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Jimmy. Don't go away. Our top stories are next. Just ahead, breaking now, Australian clothing giant Jeans West goes into administration. We're live with the latest. Also, an Adelaide home goes up in flames. What sparked the destructive inferno? The warning for Melbourne commuters as a new train safety campaign is rolled out. The con artists taking advantage of the bushfire crisis. What to watch out for before donating. And how safe are you swimming in the shallows? The real risk of shark attacks revealed.
Who knows Sydney? Who knows the things that are really impacting us?
When emergency situations face our communities,
from air quality to emergency evacuations, you can be sure you'll know the full picture of what's going on.
As major events are unfolding and you need to know, this is where to turn.
7 News will keep you up to date.
If there's one thing I know about our team, they know Sydney. Every day, every night, we report to you.
At Bazistos, we farm our oil from these amazing trees, harnessing the natural power of eucalyptus to create cleaning products that are free from harsh chemicals. From our fields to our family, from our farm to you.
With a Grand Big Mac, you get more of what you love. But right now, with any Grand Big Mac meal, you'll also get a free limited edition Coke Cup. There are 6 to collect, but hurry into Macca's. It's only while stocks last.
Welcome back, Steve. Here's your new phone.
Thank you.
Just slide here.
See that? That's the feeling of being supported. Get that feeling. Click, call, or come in store.
Maps, messaging, music. You're going to love Apple CarPlay. Oh, sorry. It's...
Make any excuse with a 4.9% comparison rate across the Corolla hatch range. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Tired of redness, burning and sore skin from shaving? Introducing the new Gillette Skin Guard. The revolutionary technology takes pressure off the blades to help stop skin irritation. Gillette Skin Guard.
Is your home running out of space? Time to call the kings of storage, moving and more. Visit storageking.com.au and store before the 15th of Feb to get 1 month storage free. Let Storage King give you back some space.
Shut up and take my money.
Oh, hi, sweetie.
Hi, Mum.
Mars. Enough chocolate to deal with anything.
Oh, it's very good.
To breaking news now, Australian retailing chain Jeans West has collapsed into administration this afternoon. Live now to Network Finance editor Gemma Acton. Gemma, how many jobs are at risk?
And Jeans West has nearly 1,000 workers spread over 146 stores across Australia who are now facing an uncertain future. The administrators say they're open to various options to save the business, including a restructure or a sale, and they're encouraging potential buyers to come forward as soon as possible. Jeans West, which specialises in denim and maternity wear, is just the latest victim of Australia's very challenging retail market, which has seen dozens of household names fold in recent years. Weak consumer spending and stiff competition from overseas and online competitors has weighed heavily on long-established local names. For the time being, though, Ange, the stores will operate business as normal.
OK, thanks so much, Gemma. Severe storms are sweeping across Victoria as we go to air. A warning has been issued for damaging hail and winds. Geelong has seen big hailstorms in the past hour. People in Melbourne's western suburbs have been warned to stay indoors. The storms will continue to move across the city throughout the afternoon after a third straight day of thick smoke. A barbecue is being blamed for sparking a massive house fire in Adelaide overnight. It took just seconds for the wooden house to explode in a fireball. Peter Caldecott has the details.
Neighbours grabbed hoses and ran to help when the whole front of the Coromandel Valley home erupted in flames.
Heat coming off that. That is so hot.
And there was 50 to 60 foot high flames within probably a minute and a half of the fire starting, so it was pretty shocking.
People just automatically just grabbed what they could. These people here had their car with their bags ready to go next door because it was so hot. Can't get much closer to our house than that, guys.
It's understood a barbecue on the front balcony ignited a nearby tablecloth.
There was a small fire to the side of the barbecue, and he dashed inside to get his fire extinguisher, put that out, thought, well, that's all good. Went in to grab the cheese to put on his patties, came back out and the fire had really taken off.
At one point, the owner went back into his burning home to save his pet dog. His family soon arrived at the house to find they'd lost everything.
It's a tragedy for the owners. You know, one minute they've got a house, next minute they're completely homeless, so they were devastated last night speaking to them.
60 firefighters took more than 2 hours to contain the blaze. Damage to the house and car has been estimated at $500,000. Fortunately, the family is insured.
A Perth man is behind bars in Bali accused of assaulting a taxi driver. The 23-year-old is being held in Kuta after allegedly headbutting the driver in the face during an altercation outside a bar in Legian. The 43-year-old taxi driver was treated in hospital but is expected to make a full recovery. It's believed the girlfriend of the accused flew back to Perth overnight. 3 men face court today over a ruckus at last year's Christmas tree ceremony in Sydney's Martin Place. They were arrested after a scuffle with police and one has pleaded guilty. Leonie Ryan was at court.
Good afternoon. Well, the 3 men were arrested accused of disrupting the event, which led to a brawl with police in November. Benjamin Jones, Liam Foote and Zane Seachin all made their first appearances here at the Downing Centre local court. It's been several weeks since the group was taken into custody after they're alleged to have jumped on stage during the lighting of the Christmas tree, which was attended to by thousands of people, including young families. When police tried to arrest them, that's when it apparently turned violent. 2 of the men, Jones and Foote, didn't enter pleas to the charges against them, including resist arrest, assault police, larceny and offensive behaviour. You've been posting it on social media news articles, so are you enjoying this?
No, I'm not.
Did you storm the stage? Will you be defending the charges?
But Seachin did. The court heard he has a problem with alcohol, which he is addressing, and that on that day he and his friends had been on a harbour cruise and he'd become quite drunk. Do you think it was appropriate to behave like that with family and kids around? He was fined $500, put on an 18-month bond, but most importantly for him, no conviction was recorded. Now, the 2 others had their cases adjourned. It's expected they'll enter pleas on the next occasion.
The Prime Minister has committed more funding to charities as part of his latest announcement in response to the bushfire crisis. He's also cut red tape so cash can be accessed faster. But it's the issue of climate policy which continues to plague funding announcements. Here's Taylor Aiken.
Charities will receive an extra $40 million in funding to help those impacted by the bushfire crisis as the Morrison government looks to make it easier for those affected to receive payments. The funding will be given to charities such as St Vincent's de Paul and the Salvation Army to administer to communities within days. It'll help families pay for essentials like food vouchers and clothing, electricity, petrol and bus fares. While an extra $10 million has been made available for financial counselling, including an expansion of the National Debt Hotline.
So people can get the best possible independent advice so that they can make the best possible decisions about how they're going to proceed into the future.
Meanwhile, parents living in the bushfire-impacted areas will now get an extra $400 per child, on top of the $400 already available.
This will provide just that little bit of extra help at this time of the year, particularly for those families with kids going back to school.
The Morrison government also says they've cut red tape to ensure those affected can receive financial assistance fast.
The last thing I want them to do is be running around getting bits of paperwork.
But as firefighters enjoy a reprieve in conditions on the ground, Science Minister Karen Andrews says the government is committed to mitigating the effects of a changing climate.
I think we need to move beyond having a debate about climate change and accept that we need to start making some changes.
The government so far refusing to commit to an increase in emissions reduction targets, instead focusing how the country can better prepare for longer and drier bushfire seasons. Devastated communities on the New South Wales South Coast are doing their best to recover from the fire crisis. For more on the clean-up, we're live to Amber Laidler at Lake Conjola. Amber, how are people coping?
And many of the residents that we've spoken to here today admit they believe they are still in shock, and the reality of what's happened here hasn't yet sunk in. It's been almost 2 weeks since this bushfire tore through this small community, destroying 89 homes and claiming 3 lives. And many people only had the opportunity to escape with the clothes on their back. Today, Governor General David Hurley was on the ground meeting local residents impacted by this fire, and also small business owners who are now really feeling the pinch. Many of them rely heavily on this holiday period to financially get them through the rest of the year, and this town is still cut off from the public. The only road in and out is still closed to anyone who isn't a local resident, government assistance or the media. They say they really need tourists back in this area to help them get back on their feet. The other concern for people living here at Lake Conjola is the impact this heavy forecast rainfall will have on the lake, which is one of their biggest tourism draw cards. They're worried that if too much ash and debris washes into the lake, they'll see something happen very similar to what we saw in Tathra when the lake turned black, and they're also concerned that that could be the next disaster they're facing. Ange?
OK, thanks so much, Amber. Crowdfunding sites are frantically trying to weed out fake appeals launched in the wake of the nation's bushfires. Some are impersonating legitimate charities, others pretending to support the families of dead firefighters. Chris Reason has more.
Australians have stepped up to help those affected by the bushfire crisis in astonishing numbers. 4,500 GoFundMe campaigns since January 1st alone, but with it has come a record number of scams. Some of them have been extraordinarily low blows, like the donor box page set up in honour of fallen firefighter Bill Slade in Victoria. It was quickly proven to have been a fraud and thankfully taken down quickly before it had even raised $200. But authorities warn that it is the tip of the iceberg. Australia's consumer watchdog, the ACCC, said it's so far received 425 complaints, and they've now launched a dedicated investigation unit to deal with just this crime.
It's probably the first time we've been called on to try and exercise some scrutiny over this whole area.
The scams can be extremely sophisticated and hard to detect, like these 2 Red Cross pages, both since taken down. The scammers known to take an authentic page, copy it, but insert their own bank account details. Now, GoFundMe says there are checks and balances you can work with. Is the organisation related to the beneficiary? Do they say how the funds will be used?
Go direct to the charity's website and make your donation there. Then you're safe. You know where the money's going.
Now, the ACCC suspects that many of these frauds are being run by overseas scammers. They say where they can find the evidence, they will prosecute. Back to you.
Commuters are flooding Melbourne's rail network in record numbers, but they're being warned to use their common sense when travelling by train. A series of real-life examples have been released showing passengers what not to do.
With a record 243 million passenger trips alone here in Melbourne over the past 12 months, a campaign is being launched to prevent risky behaviour.
And everything runs a bit smoother.
The Check Yourself Around Trains campaign is calling upon passengers to use their common sense, not to hold open train doors or to rush onto platforms.
There are always going to be people who take a risk. What we're calling out to all commuters, all passengers, is be aware of your surroundings.
CCTV released today shows the extent that some passengers will go to at Melbourne stations. In the past 12 months, there has been more than 1,000 avoidable slips, trips and falls across Melbourne's network, while there's been a further 176 incidents of passengers forcing train doors open.
If people are rushing for trains and holding doors open, it does cause delays. It delays that train maybe by 5, 10, 15 seconds. That causes knock-on delays to the rest of our service and can cause real problems in the rest of our network.
Authorities are so concerned with these statistics that some escalators have been slowed down at some stations to prevent falls.
We're doing that as a trial and we're just monitoring that to see if it leads to better safety outcomes.
Video and audio content will be targeted on passengers' smartphone apps as part of the campaign.
Next in 7's afternoon news, the wild storm that sent students in a US gym scrambling for safety. Also, Play School lends a hand in a new online child safety campaign. And it's 28 degrees in Melbourne. Brownie has the weather forecast soon.
It's the Big Bash doubleheader, so big, it has to start early. One night, two massive Big Bash clashes. Sydney Thunder and Melbourne Renegades. Then Perth Scorchers versus Melbourne Stars. And with the comps so close, they'll throw everything at the win.
Absolutely cleaned him up.
The Big Bash doubleheader, so big it starts early. Live and free on 7 Mate.
On Michael's quest for inner peace, he found himself in Bhutan, in a beautiful ancient temple. He booked his hotel on the hassle-free Agoda app, which gives you free cancellation for when there's a change of plans, like cancelling the rest of your trip in search of enlightenment. Any day now, Michael. Agoda.
That feeling. That's what inspired Endless Data. Get data that never ends for only $40 a month on our 12-month SIM-only Plus plan. Get that feeling. Click, call or come in store.
Beast inside you.
Have a peek at this. Powerball is jackpotted to $12 million. Like what you see? Better get a ticket.
Imagine if you took Coca-Cola No Sugar and full-on froze it. Well, now you don't have to. Head down to Macca's and try the new frozen Coke No Sugar for just $1. Exclusive to Macca's.
Rush into Spotlight for our New Year clear out. VIPs save 50% off all ready-to-hang day-night roller blinds and forward Venetian blinds. VIPs save 50% off all ready-to-hang curtains. Exclusions apply. Rush into Spotlight now.
Harvey Norman, massive half-yearly clearance. Hot offer. Update your look with the stylish Porto 7-piece dining suite, priced at only $999. Many more deals in store, plus 60 months interest-free. Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance on now.
If you're a GIO customer and your home or car have been impacted by the bushfires, we're here to help. You can make a claim with us 24/7 by calling 13 10 10 or by visiting gio.com.au. And don't worry, you don't need your policy documents to claim. We can also assist with emergency funds and accommodation if your home has been damaged. Most importantly, please stay safe and look out for bushfire updates from your local authority.
Think you're safe from sharks in knee-deep water? Think again. The footage revealing the risk, exclusively on 7 News tonight.
Students have been sent running for safety after the roof of their school gym ripped off during a major storm. 25 children were inside at the time as bricks and wooden beams were sent flying through the hall in North Carolina. The region has been hit with wild weather in recent days as storm systems move across from the Midwest, where several people have been killed. Checking finance now with James Tao at CommSec. James, more records for Aussie shares today.
Yeah, very good afternoon to you, and it's a second successive record close for Aussie shares today. The ASX 200 climbing another 30-odd points, just shy of 0.5%, and also closing in on 7,000 points. This will be the first time ever we breach that, if that does happen. So we saw the broader All Ords also closing above 7,100 points for the first time, a record close there as well. And this continues on. It's been a pretty strong start to 2020. In the first 10 trading sessions of the year, we've seen the ASX 200 climb around 4.5% now. So today we had the gold stocks really helping push the broader market high, the big banks and also miners doing their part as well, with gains for the likes of CBA and BHP. Only weakness coming from the consumer stocks. Coles and Woolies a bit weaker, and the Aussie dollar just shy of 69 US cents.
OK, James Tao from CommSec, thank you. Play School is teaming up with the E-Safety Commissioner to produce an episode that will educate toddlers and young kids about the dangers online. Experts say that stopping kids from accessing the internet altogether isn't working, and this will give kids and parents the tools to keep everyone safe. Jess Ridley has more.
Well, Play School has been a favourite in our households for more than 50 years now, but soon we'll see the likes of Jemima, Big Ted and Humpty Dumpty addressing some pretty gritty topics about online safety. The ABC program is developing an episode with the E-Safety Commissioner that will educate toddlers and preschool-age kids on bullying and the dangers of the internet.
It talks about, do you know who you're talking to, and they're only friends that you know and that your parents have approved and validated.
Just as we need to teach children not to hurt and bully each other in real life, we also need to teach them not to hurt and bully each other in digital environments.
Research shows 94% of Australian children under 4 are using the internet, and with the recommendation of no screen time for under 2s not working, cyber experts say healthy tech habits need to be taught early, and most parents we've spoken to today seem positive about this.
I think it's just educating them gently and just warning them, and also an open line of communications.
There's a family tech agreement that you can download from the E-Safety Commissioner website to run through with your children to set some boundaries around the use of devices.
New South Wales has revealed its most popular baby names for 2019, and it seems parents are returning to more conventional choices. For baby girls, the top picks are Charlotte, Olivia, Mia, Amelia and Isla. For boys, Oliver, Noah, William, Jack and Leo were all strong favourites. Experts say parents are moving away from unique and bold names and sticking with ones that will stand the test of time, including in a professional setting. In a moment, the frightening video of a close encounter with a shark highlighting the risk of swimming in the shallows. But first, here's what's coming up tonight in 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon. A near miss at Bondi Beach today. A car crashing over a barrier at a popular vantage point. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll hear from witnesses at the scene. A fuel tank explosion leads to major M1 traffic delays. It's one of 2 truck fires on that motorway today. A Western Sydney petrol bomb attack, cars destroyed. The latest on the manhunt for a suspected gang of firebugs. Getting off lightly, the surprising court sentence for a man involved in this Christmas rampage. And Sydney's mystery multi-millionaire, a winning lotto ticket remains unclaimed. We'll tell you where it was purchased. We'll have those stories 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon, I'm Alex Strawn in the Gerard Maloof and Partners Sky Tracker 7 chopper. The M4's struggling this afternoon after an earlier truck and car accident at Prospect at Reservoir Road. Adding to those delays now, a breakdown at the bottom of the Reservoir Road ramp. And taking a look at delays, they're going all the way back toward the Granville area. Looking for your fair share in a will or estate? Make the right choice. Call Gerard Maloof and Partners on 1800 00 HURT and ask about their 90-day risk-free trial.
A preview now of one of the stories in our 7 News bulletin tonight, where we'll bring you frightening footage of a shark coming within metres of swimmers on a New South Wales beach. Experts believe the animal is a juvenile white shark and was spotted by a drone operator earlier this week. Cameron Price has more.
Experts say a shark spotted swimming close to shore by a drone operator here on Foster Main Beach is likely a juvenile great white shark coming within touching distance of 2 swimmers who had no idea what was lurking beneath the surface. Behind the controls of that drone, 17-year-old Cameron Grace.
Yeah, I wasn't a little shark. It was about 2.5 metres.
Family members nearby managed to sound the alarm to those on the beach.
So I ran really quickly down to the beach and I got into the water and I waved for the 2 boys to get out, and they were completely oblivious to the shark's presence.
Experts say this encounter is a prime example of why people needn't be frightened of sharks.
I think the thing to note there is no matter the species, you see how close that animal goes to swimmers and shows them no interest whatsoever.
A new survey, though, finding almost 3/4 of us are frightened of sharks.
Up next in 7's Afternoon News, Brownie has all the weather details right across the country.
An emergency is the absence of choice.
Mommy, it's a cruel, cruel summer.
Oh my God. The crazy chaos of life.
Leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel, cruel summer.
So when the light up ahead.
911, what is your emergency?
At 911 this February.
Mayo and our famous pickle.
$6,000. Call 138 747 or see your Viking travel agent.
At Pizistos, we farm our oil from these amazing...
Insurance line gives you a bonus 20.
We've already had reports of flash flooding and damaging winds in excess of 100.
To the Disney Queen. A few months ago, she was struggling after her mother failed to produce milk. Carers from the Australian Reptile Park have been hand-rearing her around the clock. She's now 11 months old and has just spent her first day at Koala Preschool.
And she goes into the creche yard to learn how to be a koala. So she's been with me at home now for 5 months, and she has to learn how to climb trees and find her food and interact with other koalas.
The park says Elsa is happy and healthy and settling quickly with the other joeys. And that is 7's Afternoon News for this Wednesday. More coming up on 7 News at 6. I'm Angela Cox. Stay with 7 now for The Chase Australia. I hope you have a great night.